Imagine Earth, our beautiful blue planet, teeming with life, floating in the vastness of space. It's a sight to behold, isn't it? But let's stretch our imagination a bit further. Not our Earth, but a donut Earth. Sounds crazy, right? A planet shaped like your favorite breakfast treat. It's a wild idea, but let's entertain it for a moment. But what if our planet wasn't a sphere, but a giant cosmic pastry? Imagine looking up at the night sky and seeing a ring of stars through the hole in the middle. It's a mind-bending concept. Buckle up, because we're about to explore this delicious possibility. How would our lives change? How would our understanding of the universe shift? We're used to thinking of Earth as a big ball, a perfect sphere rotating on its axis, orbiting the sun. This shape has defined our existence for millennia, but in this alternate reality, it's flat, in a circle, a continuous loop of land and water with no beginning and no end. It's a radical departure from what we know. Picture a giant ring with a hole in the middle. That's our new home. A place where the horizon curves back on itself, creating a unique and surreal landscape. What would it be like to live on this donut-shaped world? How would gravity work? Would we feel lighter or heavier as we moved around the ring? What about the weather? Would we have seasons, or would the climate be completely different? And what about life itself? How would plants and animals adapt to this new environment? Would we see entirely new species evolve to fit the donut-shaped world? Let's dive in and find out. Join us on this journey as we explore the fascinating possibilities of a donut-shaped Earth. From the laws of physics to the wonders of biology, we'll uncover the secrets of this extraordinary world. First things first, let's get oriented. Imagine waking up one day to find that the Earth is no longer a sphere, but a donut. This isn't just any donut, but a massive celestial one with a hole right in the middle. The concept might sound bizarre, but let's dive into what this new world would look like. On donut Earth, we'd have an outer edge and an inner edge, each with its own unique characteristics. The outer edge would be the part of the donut that faces the vastness of space, while the inner edge would circle the hole at the center, creating a boundary that separates the two sides. Circling the hole at the center, the inner edge would be a fascinating place. Imagine standing on the inner edge and looking across the void to see the other side of the donut. The view would be unlike anything we've ever seen on our spherical Earth. The hole itself would be a sight to behold, a massive void in the sky. This gaping chasm would dominate the landscape, creating a sense of awe and wonder. It would be a constant reminder of the unique shape of our new world. The geography would be wild. The donut shape would create diverse and dramatic landscapes, with regions that are completely different from what we're used to. From towering mountains to deep valleys, the terrain would be a geologist's dream. Imagine vast curving landscapes that seem to stretch on forever. The curvature of the donut would create sweeping vistas that bend and twist in ways that defy our current understanding of geography. Mountains might rise from the edges, creating dramatic peaks that tower over the surrounding land. These mountains would be unlike any we've seen before, with their unique shapes and formations, and rivers could flow in crazy spirals around the donut. The gravitational forces at play would create watercourses that twist and turn in unexpected ways, making for some truly spectacular natural features. And what about oceans? They'd be shaped like giant rings wrapping around the entire planet. These ring-shaped oceans would be vast and deep, with coastlines that curve endlessly. The sight of a ring ocean would be both mesmerizing and disorienting. Imagine sailing across an endless sea, the curvature of the donut always visible on the horizon. The journey would be surreal, with the horizon bending in ways that challenge our perception. This new world, with its unique shape and features, would be a place of endless exploration and discovery. Now let's talk weather. On donut Earth, things would get weird. The hole at the center would create some seriously strange air currents. Winds would whip through the hole, creating superstorms unlike anything on our Earth. Imagine hurricanes swirling around the center, or giant tornadoes stretching from one side of the donut to the other. But it wouldn't all be chaos. There would also be areas of calm, where the climate might be surprisingly pleasant. It all depends on where you are on the donut. Life on donut Earth would be incredibly diverse. Different parts of the donut would have wildly different ecosystems. Near the edges, where gravity is strongest, you might find dense, lush forests. But closer to the hole, where gravity is weaker, life would be stranger. Think floating plants and animals that have adapted to a low-gravity environment. And what about in the hole itself? It's possible that some incredibly resilient life forms could survive there, perhaps feeding off energy from the planet's core. Speaking of gravity, let's talk about how it would work on Donut Earth. Remember that gravity depends on mass and distance. On our spherical Earth, gravity is pretty much the same everywhere. But on Donut Earth, it would be all over the place. You'd feel the strongest pull on the outer edge and the weakest pull near the hole. This would have a huge impact on life. Imagine creatures that have evolved to be super strong on the edges, but light and airy near the hole. It would be a bizarre and wonderful sight to see. Section 6, day and night on a donut. What about day and night? Well, that would be different too. Imagine waking up to a sunrise that looks nothing like what we see on Earth. The unique shape of the donut planet would create a variety of sunrise and sunset experiences, each more breathtaking than the last. On our Earth, the sun rises and sets because of our planet's rotation. This consistent rotation gives us the familiar cycle of day and night, with the sun appearing to move across the sky in a predictable path. But on Donut Earth, the day and night cycle would be determined by the angle of the sun and the shape of the donut. The curvature and the hole in the center would create complex patterns of light and shadow, making each day a unique experience. Some parts of the donut might experience constant daylight, basking in the sun's rays without ever seeing a sunset. Imagine living in a place where the sun never sets, providing endless daylight for activities and exploration, while others are shrouded in perpetual twilight. These areas would have a mysterious, almost magical quality, with the sun always low on the horizon, casting long shadows and creating a serene, otherworldly atmosphere. The hole itself would also play a role, acting like a giant sundial, casting a giant shadow across the donut's surface. This shadow would move and change throughout the day, creating a dynamic and ever-changing landscape, casting a giant shadow across the donut's surface. This shadow would be a constant reminder of the unique shape of the planet, influencing everything from the climate to the way people live their daily lives. Imagine the sun disappearing behind the hole, creating dramatic and awe-inspiring sunsets. The interplay of light and shadow would be unlike anything we've ever seen on Earth, offering a visual spectacle every evening, creating a solar eclipse unlike anything we've ever seen. The hole in the donut would act as a natural filter, creating partial and total eclipses that would be a sight to behold. These celestial events would be a regular occurrence, adding to the wonder and mystery of life on a donut-shaped planet. Section 7, the human factor. Now let's talk about humans. How would we live on Donut Earth? It wouldn't be easy, that's for sure. We'd have to adapt to the strange gravity, the wild weather, and the unique challenges of living on a giant cosmic pastry. We might build cities on the edges, taking advantage of the stronger gravity, or we might create floating habitats near the hole where gravity is less of an issue. One thing's for sure, life on Donut Earth would be an adventure. Section 8, Donut Politics. Here's a thought. What about politics on Donut Earth? Imagine countries spread across the inner and outer edges of the donut, each with its own unique culture and way of life. There would be those who control access to the hole and those who live in its shadow. Trade routes would crisscross the donut, connecting these disparate societies. And who knows what kind of conflicts might arise over resources, territory, or even just the best views of the cosmos. Section 9, living on the donut. So what's the takeaway? Life on Donut Earth would be bizarre, challenging, and utterly unlike anything we can imagine. From the strange gravity to the crazy weather to the political and cultural implications, Donut Earth is a mind-bending thought experiment. It shows us that our universe is full of possibilities, even if they seem impossible at first glance. So the next time you look up at the night sky, remember, somewhere out there might just be a planet shaped like a donut, waiting to be explored.